Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I feel like it's been forever. Where have we been?
I just told Heather the same thing. Well, last week we went to, we were at Adam's mom's lake house in Indiana, and I worked from there. And then we had 4th of July, and we had 18 people stay in the house. Luckily, they have a big house. It was a lot of people. I was like, oh my gosh. But every year they've done that forever, and everybody goes. So it was good. We had a good time.
How fun.
Yeah. Now, were you at the beach house?
I think I was at the beach house for 3 weeks. It feels like
Really?
It feels like eternity. We went for a week by ourselves, and then Preston, Ann, and the girls came up, and then Bailey and Ellie came up. So I landed back in Texas yesterday, and literally today I had to teach a pilot of a listing course that we're writing.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
It went good. However, I'm not used to standing on my feet teaching all day, so that was kind of rough.
Oh, did you do it in person?
I did it in person because I learned so much when I teach in person.
Yeah.
Record it next week in Ohio while we're there. So I wanted to get live one time full. I'd done half days. I want to get it live full one day before we actually shoot the online course. So anyway,
it does feel so good to be back, like doing in-person teaching and stuff.
Yeah. So, and then Bailey had booked a trip to I think it's called Miraval Spa.
Okay. I wondered what you were doing. Okay.
Yeah. Look it up. It's kind of cool. Anyway, I just let her book everything because I don't know like it's all airy fairy kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what all kind of people, but anyway, it's supposed to be really cool. Lots of people.
Where is that?
It's in Austin.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And so we'll be there till Monday, and then Monday I'll fly to Ohio, and we'll finish our graduation for our Leadership Academy.
Yep. We'll be ready to do that on Tuesday. Gosh, I've got a busy week next week too there, so that'll be good.
Awesome. Excited. Okay, so today we're going to answer a question from one of our listeners who asked the question, and you may remember the question better than I do, but it was something along the lines, what do you do if you're not money motivated? Was that the question?
Yeah, pretty much in a nutshell.
Okay. So I've kind of been thinking about that a lot since we were proposed that question. I think you did you already answer her?
I think I did email her back on that. Yes, I did.
So what were your thoughts on it?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind right off the bat was one of my very favorite quotes by John Maxwell, which is, "You can't be outrageously generous when you're broke."
Yeah.
And I always love when he says that, and I really think about that. And I think sometimes if you would say you're not money motivated, I would say, what are you motivated by? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I think that everybody is motivated by achieving or giving or, figuring out a way that they can help other people. And so for me, I always take my mind back to, I am money motivated, so it doesn't necessarily apply to me. However, I do think, what did Mark Willis say? He's too much of a consumer, so he has to be money motivated. He has to be money motivated. But I still go back and think, even if you aren't motivated by money is good for the good it can do. So, and I also think, I'm hoping you're going to talk about this. I think one thing I said to her too about that is, you just never know about life's unexpecteds. I told her that was one of the things that you had taught me. So I was hoping you'd talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think, and I, like you, have a hard time because I am motivated by money too. I'm a very good consumer, like Mark said he was. However, I think people are motivated by either fear or gain. And so you can always tie it back, because I think I've said this before on the show. One of my biggest fears is I don't want to be old and someone else have to take care of me. Yep. And I remember one day sitting around a breakfast table with some relatives, and two of them at that table just said, "Hey, that'll be my kids' problems to take care of." And that was just so, I don't know. I'm like, oh no, I would not at all. I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to be somebody else's burden, and I don't want to run out of money, and I don't want to not have enough to take care of myself. So for me, I was trying to think, is it gain or fear? I do like to buy things, but the truth is, I'm not necessarily motivated by that. I'm actually motivated more by the fear of what happens if I don't have any than if
I'm definitely that same way. What did Gary said last week? Remember he said Gary Keller said when we were on that mastermind, people are either motivated by the fear of loss or by the opportunity of gain. And he said it would be, and I kind of struggle with this, Linda. He said it would be the fear of loss would say, okay, when the house is on fire is when I'm gonna do it, or the fear of gain or opportunity would be I'm gonna go make this happen because I know it's gonna achieve X. He gave the examples of the house. I'm trying to find my notes and I don't have it right here in front of me.
Well, yeah, and I don't really see it that way. To me, the fear, the fear is having a situation that I'm not prepared for and I don't have enough for it. And then having worked hard for, 30 plus years, probably 40 years, and working towards achieving, I now have gotten the opportunity to see the benefits of stepping into other people's gap where they didn't, maybe they weren't motivated by money, or maybe they just didn't think long term enough. And that to me gave such surprising joy that I was shocked by it. So I think maybe thinking about the fear of what happens if I don't have any or I don't have enough. I mean, in a lot of ways, I definitely have seen this. And, you and I both growing up being Christians, we've always heard the saying, that God is going to provide. And I have actually seen his provisions a lot of times in people and in my own life, but I also don't feel like it's the right thing to just say, well, I'm just going to sit back and not use the gifts that he gave me to provide, I guess is how I'd say that.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. That's actually one of my triggers.
Well, yeah. When somebody says, I'm just going to sit back and let God do it.
Yes, it's a huge trigger for me because I'm like, wait a minute, that's not really how it works. You still have abilities and gifts, and you have to use those. But I think the biggest thing too is if you're not motivated by money, what are you motivated by? I mean, you have to figure out what else you might be motivated by, and then I would say, is it because of a fear? Because we used to learn that. It was maybe coaching skills camp about the root of all evil is money, and money has such a negative context around it for a lot of people, and so sometimes I think people that aren't money motivated, it's because at some point in their life they've had a negative context around money, and so I think you almost have to look at it and kind of do a little digging and soul searching on maybe why aren't you money? Is it because of a negative reason, or is it just because you don't necessarily see money as a positive thing?
That's a good point, because I think sometimes you can grow up hearing those things so much that it makes you feel bad.
Right.
Now that I really think about it, because for years, I would go out and sell a ton of houses and never once look at my commission checks because I had somebody that did that. Yeah. So when I think about that, I also never worry about how much money I'm getting paid for something I'm doing if I really love it and enjoy it. So to some instances, I don't think it is about the money, right? Mm-hmm. Mine is more about I'd love to achieve. And what I've learned is by learning to achieve at a high level, money shows up behind it, right? Totally. I've always been saying that says, if you're not happy with the money you have, give more value to the world, right? Because money is a byproduct of the value that you bring for any service or whatever. So in some ways, it really isn't about the money, because I think if you're winding up doing what you love and what you're good at, you're not really counting exactly. To me, when someone's truly about the money, two things happen. Everything is a measuring about the money, and then the second thing is all they talk about is the money. And then the third thing is when they get to a certain amount, they quit.
Yeah.
So to some degree, I don't know, and I bet you'd be the same way too. I'm not really sure that we're actually motivated by the money. We're motivated by the achieving, and the achieving throws off the money.
Yeah.
And we like the things that money can do. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I think, I don't necessarily know that it's being motivated by the money. For me, it's that I just want the freedom, and
Yeah.
money provides the freedom.
Right, right. Because I think when it truly is about the money, a person has a number in their mind and they get to that number and they absolutely quit
Yeah.
because they got to the number.
Yeah.
So to some degree, I know my motivation is achievement.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And so if my motivation is achievement, what I've discovered is money shows up behind that achievement. So I would probably say, what is it that money can do that does motivate you? And what is it that, like you said, are you motivated by? Because I'm going to venture to bet that something that money will provide is something you're motivated by. So maybe it's the ability to take care of your parents when they get older. Maybe it's the ability to take care of yourself when you get older. I think there's something, if you really track it back, there's something, or maybe if you play your life out and don't have any money, does that motivate you? The fact that you could not have any money? Because I don't think any of us know how much money it's going to take to live, or the situations we're going to find ourselves in, and all of that stuff.
Do you care to tell the story about just Andrew and you guys being able to do this? I just think that's such a good story for so many people. It really puts it into perspective,
Right. Well, I think until you're in situations, well, sometimes people I think might not even recognize this, some of the good things that money can do. Right. So I'm going to say it was about 12 years ago, or 11 and a half years ago. Our son-in-law got sick with cancer. He'd had cancer at 18. He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It came back as a tumor in his lung, a smoker's lung cancer, which he'd never smoked a day in his life. 11 years after he had beaten it the first time. And so for 10 and a half months, we needed to be where he was, my daughter was, and our granddaughter was, and it was 6 hours south of us. So that literally meant that we could either be far away, and I can promise you when something like that happens, you want to be in the middle of it, or we could just kind of pick up and go there and be there as much as we could. And I think we wound up spending like about 3.5 weeks of that 10.5 months someplace else. We'd go home and kind of regroup and then go back. And I always say that, being able to be there and be present for those 10.5 months was priceless. You couldn't put a price ticket on that, right? Because, you're there. It takes a village. If anybody who's ever gone through something like that, it takes a village to get a family through that. And so we were there to help with Ellie. My husband drove him back and forth to Houston because about 2 hours or so, because he didn't want to not be in his home. And there's just so many extra things that if you're not worried about where your money's going to come from, you have the ability to do that you couldn't do without that money.
Yeah, I love that, because I think for people who say that they aren't motivated by money, it almost makes me question, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but question, have they ever gone through anything in their life where money could have made it easier, or made something simpler, or provided for somebody that they love or that they care about, because I think when that happens, you think about being a little more motivated. I don't know if motivated by money is the right way to say it, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. And again, I still think it's not, I don't think very few people are actually motivated by money. They're motivated by what the money can do, either give them freedom or make their lifestyle easier or help them have more to give, or all those kind of things. And I can't remember who the guy's name is. I don't know if we heard him at John Maxwell, or we heard him. His name is John. And I love it. He says, you know what? He said, if my people ever came to me and said, we have a problem, he said, my first question is, do we have a problem or do we have a situation?
Yeah.
And they say, well, what's the difference? He'd say, well, if money can fix it, it ain't no problem. It's a situation.
So
if money can't fix it, it's a problem. So I always think about that with him.
It's so true.
People say, we got a problem. I'm like, do we got a problem or do we got a situation? Because if money can fix it, we're just going to fix it with that. It's kind of realtor. You have to always have that in your mantra. Is it a new refrigerator? I can fix that. Is it a new stove? I can fix that.
I'll never forget. I was probably 3 years in, and I had to buy somebody a new HVAC, $6,000 HVAC, and I was like, "This cannot be what I signed up for in this career." I know.
More situations where you don't have to pay for them than you do ones where you do have to pay for them.
Right. That's right. The other thing I was thinking, kind of to wrap up, Linda, was I do believe that money brings out what's inside of people, and I love how John has always taught us. It's like a lemon, like what's inside of you gets squeezed out, and it gets squeezed out when you're under pressure, when you're stressed, like your true innards is how I would say it come out. But I think money does that too. People who have a generous heart or who want to be good stewards. Like I always think of that book, Chase the Lion. I love it so much. He says in there, you need to be a good steward of your time, your treasure, and your time, your treasure, and your something else. I'll think of it. There's 3 T's. But I think about how money does bring out what's on the inside of you, and so I think sometimes you have to think about that too. And you can
there's 2 things that amplify a person: old age and money. If you're grumpier, you'll just be grumpier. And I think in Quantum Leap, Gary says, and more money doesn't buy good taste. If you don't believe that, go visit Elvis's house, right?
True.
He wants to know good taste at his mansion. Right.
Talent. It's time, your treasures, and your talent. Here's what you're supposed to be. Yeah. That was going to drive me nuts to think of that.
Yep, I love it. So I think what I would say is I wouldn't try to convert her to thinking she's money motivated, because I think very few people are actually money motivated. You're motivated by something that money can do. They give you freedom, give you choices, give you options, give you time, or give you abilities to give, whatever, something else that motivates you. So I'd probably track that back to what am I motivated by? What do I get excited about? What gives me joy? And then if I had more money, could I do more of that? And if you can't do more of that and you don't need it, you don't want it, and you're not worried about running out or not having enough for any of life's unexpecteds, then I say, don't worry about it. I would wonder what made her worry. What does she think she's missing? Because I would think more than anything is it maybe I'm just not motivated, not necessarily am I not money motivated. So I'd love to have a little bit more background on that story and see if we could dig a little bit deeper.
Maybe we can get her to come on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. So Dana, I guess I'll see you next week at our final graduation, our first graduation for our Leadership Academy.
I know. I can't wait. We got good stuff coming.
Awesome. All right. So we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.